Hello once again. You are listening to the Appleton REIA podcast. My name is Dan Alborn. Next to me is Jacci Cockle. Hey, lady.
Hey, yo, what's going on?
Oh, man, I'm
Happy
excited.
day.
I'm excited today because we get to talk to an amazing person. We got to hang with him recently when we were down in Louisville, Jackie. But this guy was going through the motions, right? I mean, he was working the 9 to 5. He probably is living the story that maybe if you're listening today, you've went through, right? And then he had a trip to India that almost cost him his life and really refocused his priorities. And he used real estate to do that. Transformed his world, his lifestyle, his income. He's currently the president of Traction REIA in Washington, D.C. He's been on things like CNBC, Kiplinger's Magazine, Washington Post. I mean, there's a laundry list of people that he's been connected with. And now he's also speaking across the country, sharing techniques of real estate to people like us. And the cool thing is,
He's coming to Appleton.
he's coming to hang with us this month, right? So joining us on the podcast today is Tom Zeeb. Tom, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Living the life, man. Doing awesome. Now, I'm intrigued, man. I was reading a little bit of your bio. I know we got to hang out. I didn't know this about you until I actually read about you. I guess talk a little bit about your experience, about this near-death experience and how real estate saved your life and now how you're using that to help save the lives of other people.
Gotcha. Yeah, I was stuck in my 9 to 5 job. You know, it wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't going up, wasn't going down, but it wasn't exciting, and it was just there, and I felt absolutely stuck. So this isn't what I signed up for. But
So
I
many
saved up
people.
my whopping 2 weeks a year and took a big, giant adventure trip to India with some buddies.
Yeah.
And one of the first things we did was go whitewater rafting, and I'd never been whitewater rafting before.
Sure.
I didn't know. I'm like, wow, there's all this cool stuff. They rank the rapids from 0 to 6, and a class 6
yeah.
rapid you can't get through. But then they said, hey, we've got a class 5, which is maybe you probably shouldn't.
Right?
Which of course we did.
Right.
And I went flying off the raft, and here I was finally feeling like I had escaped, finally got out, was finally living the life, finally enjoying myself, and now I find myself underwater and pumping in the rocks, and I don't know which way's up or down.
Yeah.
I don't have any air, and I'm getting a little bit nervous.
Just a little.
That's crazy,
Yeah,
man.
just a little bit. Yeah, and then when you get all these, I don't know if you've ever had a near-death experience, but you get all these
Yeah.
thoughts going through your head, and I had kind of disappointment and frustration. Like, hey, wait a minute, nothing worked. That didn't work out. That wasn't what I want. I haven't done anything. And then,
Yeah.
and it was all that feeling of being trapped and drowning was now very much, legitimately drowning now.
Yeah.
Nothing was working right. I said, all right. If I get out of this, something's got to change. And then I shot through the surface of the water. I see the raft with all my friends on it, laughing hysterically at me.
Dude, I'm dying. Stop laughing.
Right? No doubt.
Yeah, what
Thanks,
are good friends
bud.
for, right?
Yeah, right.
Never quite
Literally
got
drowning
that
over here.
Oh, my word. We can laugh about it now. It wasn't funny then, for sure.
Dude.
No, I was like, oof. But they don't get everything that I went through, and I spent I got back. Because I had spent all the rest of this trip going, things are going to be different. I've got big plans. Got to figure out what I'm going to do. I don't know what, but I'm going to figure it out. And then I got home, and oh wow, okay,
Life
there's
was waiting
bills,
for you.
and there's debt, and I have no more vacation time, and I've got a 9 to 5, and I'm stuck at this desk,
man.
and I'm stuck in traffic in the commute, and I'm just
Ew.
stuck everywhere I looked. I'm stuck, and I still feel like I'm drowning and suffocating.
Wow. Yeah, so that's interesting. Not only were you literally drowning and suffocating,
Right.
but you realized that in
Figuratively
your
drowning.
personal life, figuratively,
Yeah.
like Jackie said, financially, personally, just everything, you're kind of over your head, right?
Yeah, it was the metaphorical drowning, the real drowning. I went, man, everywhere I look, I'm drowning.
Oh, my word.
So why real estate? How real estate? How does that just pop into your life?
I'm sure plenty of your listeners have read the exact same thing. A
Right.
friend of mine handed me a book. It was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I'm sure almost
Dun,
everyone's read it.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost well, that hit me like a ton of bricks.
Sure.
I went right back to going, wait a minute, this is the answer to the frustrations I had when I was running out of oxygen.
Yeah.
And fantastic, because I was so ginned up and excited and ripper and ready to go. But what actual how-to
Where do I
advice
start?
is there in the?
Yeah.
Right.
He tells you one single thing, and that's go buy rental properties,
You're like,
Right.
Okay.
which is maybe okay, except that I'm broke. I
You
got
need a
really
loan.
nothing going for me. But I was, hey, I must do this. So I went out and bought I bought a multi-unit building.
Okay.
And that nearly took me under, and I wound up drowning in debt on that, and pretty much almost destroyed me again. And I wound up losing that. But in the process, I had found groups like Appleton REIA.
Yeah,
I found my own local version of that, and wow, holy cow, there's all these people here who, feel the same way and are trying to bust out of their jobs or have bust out of their jobs, and they're doing real estate deals, and they're fixing houses and renting houses, and they're doing it successfully. Not like me.
Yeah,
I went, all right.
But you took action.
I think there's something here. Yeah, I took action on it.
A lot of people take action without knowledge, but then there's a whole nother boat of people who go and get the knowledge and never take the action. So there's a happy medium somewhere in between. But you started with the action, which led you to getting the knowledge to do it right. And honestly, sometimes I feel that's better.
Yeah.
It's called ready, fire, aim.
Right. And the other thing I want to say too, Tom, that yeah, right. The other thing go ahead. I'm sorry.
There's nothing wrong with a little bit of aim.
Right.
You ready, fire, aim if you have no knowledge.
Yes.
And that was my problem. I mean, all I had was a book, and not even a very detailed book at that. So I was stuck because I didn't know anything. I was your classic raw newbie where, hey, this is awesome. This sounds good. I'm going to make $1 million by Tuesday.
Yeah,
but,
right.
It doesn't work that way.
No, and I think what I was just going to hit at, and you've kind of talked to that on two different points now, is that one, you tried something and you weren't successful right away. Sometimes people are willing to be like, I'm done, I'm throwing in the towel. Your why was bigger than that, right? You knew that. But secondly, you surrounded yourself with like-minded people, like going to the local REIAs. And I think those two things, along with the action that Jackie was talking about, is critical to success, not just in real estate, but just life in general, man. You got to keep forging on and then re-aim at the target. You missed? Okay, let's re-aim. What can I do better? Who can I bring into my circle to help me become more successful?
Yeah. It's kind of like your baby. If your baby doesn't walk the first time, you don't go, oh, well, I guess she's never going to walk. You just
never going to walk.
You just keep picking them up and sending them to daddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's always that way. And that was, I think that was one of the biggest things was realizing, hey, there's other people. I mean, the REIA unlocked that. There are other people doing it. I could emulate that success a lot better. It's much easier to see it when it's someone that's like you.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, there were all these Saturday seminars. And I'm thinking, well, what else am I going to do on a Saturday? I can go waste my time, or I could go do something productive. Which of course wound up, in the long term, it turned every day into a Saturday. But one of the reasons why I put my Saturday together as it is now that I teach is I wanted it to be everything I wished I would have had when I started.
Wow,
so rather than kind of like piece things together slowly, why can't I just get the whole kind of kit and caboodle and understand what's happening?
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly, and that's the right motivation for starting it. So, and that's what we're so lucky to have, is that you're going to come now and share with us all the things that you learned by aiming after, right? I mean,
yeah, well, you learn from your mistakes, right? I mean,
plan,
we
do,
hopefully
review.
save some people some headaches.
Yeah. So
no drowning required, guys.
Right. Oh my gosh. But Tom, that created your big why, and that is the missing piece for a lot of investors today. Is they don't have a strong enough why. Like, they don't have a strong enough reason. They just think, well, I want to be really rich. Well, that's not going to drive anybody when you're having a tough day, or you lose a property to foreclosure. You're just not going to get back to it. But when your why is that strong, obviously that drove you.
Strong why backed by then learning solid techniques to make it happen.
Right. Was there a one aha moment through this journey, Tom? Obviously, you bought the multiplex, that kind of I mean, when was the final aha where you're like, okay, this is going to work? Can you talk a little bit about that?
The aha moment was when I first did a wholesale deal. And I didn't really understand the process. I wasn't exactly sure completely what I was doing. Luckily, the investor I was selling to did.
Right.
He said, it's not that hard. I want this property. Because then I wanted with a different property, not the 6-unit. And I thought, all right, I'm gonna do this right this time. I'm gonna rehab it, because what could possibly go wrong rehabbing a property for the first time?
Right. It's perfect on the shows, right? They get it done in an hour.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then, all the shows don't quite show the reality of it. So
Right.
I lucked out that instead somebody approached me and said, I want to take that deal off your hands because it was good for him and his crew, his rehabbing crew. And I didn't even understand you could do that. I'm like, is that legal? Can you do that? I don't even know. And then He said, yeah, I'll walk you through it. And he did. And I went, wow. I mean, I hit almost $23,000 on my first wholesale fee.
Nice.
Yep. Then you're hooked.
So I went from financially drowning to going, oh, wow. Oh, I need to do that again.
Yes.
And again and again and again and again.
Rinse, repeat. Awesome.
So, Tom, the very first podcast that Dan and I did for the Appleton REIA podcast was called Wholesaling is Not for Newbies. So this is love, right? But it was really all about, we have so many people come to us and we have training program and stuff like that too. So they come to us and say, hey, I heard about this wholesaling, or I read a book, or I heard a podcast, or I saw a story, whatever it was. They're online. We're bombarded today with real estate emails and the latest, greatest whatnots. And they're saying, I want to be a wholesaler because I heard it doesn't take any money or credit. And I'm like, but it does take some knowledge, And so everybody comes into it thinking they want to be a wholesaler, but our whole thing was, hey, put on the brakes. It's not for newbies. You have to have all of the information to be a good wholesaler, because now you have to buy a property cheaper than everyone else to be able to wholesale it to them, where they can come into it and it can still turn a profit for that next investor that you're wholesaling to. So I just wanted to kind of, that's that's why we have you coming. So just talk a little bit about your program and kind of what people can come away with this weekend.
Yeah, I agree and disagree with the guys on that one. I mean, is wholesaling for newbies? It's an excellent spot for newbies to start for a number of reasons, which let me talk about in a minute.
Of course.
But what's not for newbies is delving into something where you don't think you don't need to know anything. I mean, like I jumped into, when I was a raw newbie, I jumped into that 6-unit building. That was an absurd thing to do. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone in a million years. It doesn't even make any sense. I didn't know what I was doing. So is wholesaling for newbies? Well, it's because of not needing any cash and because of not needing any credit. It's a really good spot to start and get going. Of course, I have an argument that wholesaling, you keep it in your toolbox no matter what kind of investor you become, no matter what level. I've got people that intermediate and advanced, because when you need quick cash, it works out really nice that way. I mean, when you can be generating cash rapidly, then there's always room for wholesaling your toolbox. If you're a rehabber and you need some extra cash to keep your rehabs going, or you get a rehab that you can't do right now, wholesale it. If you're a landlord and it's just not your kind of property, don't let it go. Put it under contract and wholesale to somebody else in the group. So there's always room for it at any level, but it is particularly nice to start because you don't need the cash, you don't need the credit, because you're not actually the one buying the property. But that doesn't mean you can't know what you're doing. So that's where a newbie would get confused. It's not just add water and then it starts magically raining money. You got to know what you're doing, and there's 3 specific things you got to really focus in on. You got to focus on marketing, so you're finding deals. You got to focus on negotiations, so you learn how to make a deal, because these things don't just fall out of the sky. You got to take a lukewarm lead and turn it into a red hot deal. And then you've got to understand the legal side of the business and have the right set of legal contracts and know what you're doing to get something through the settlement, so that you're closing title on the property, closing escrow on the property correctly.
Well, I think the big thing, Tom, is that you teach wholesaling correctly. I think most of the gurus that come through have done wholesaling, aren't even investing anymore, and they're like, oh, wholesaling, it's a quick, easy way to sell a course. You're still living the business, you're still doing it, you're doing it correctly. And I think to the point we were just getting at is that there's so much information out there, misinformation of 30 days to 30K, which can that happen? Yes. But to your point, everything we talked about, you need to set yourself up to win. And all the things we're culminating this, plus what you just talked about, those 3 things are very important to having long-term success as being a wholesaler and in just investing in general. Yeah,
it takes a little something. It's like anything you really want to do in life, you commit to it and you learn about it and then you do it right. It's not rocket science, right? We're going to break it down at your meetings, and you're going, well, this isn't rocket science.
Right?
Could anyone do it? Yeah, I think anyone could. Will everyone? No, because most people don't do anything. People don't commit, and they don't keep the focus and the commitment and the drive. So, but if you really want to make it happen and do the changes, then learn what you're doing and then follow the steps of the process, and you'll get there.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, Tom. You're going to be with us, obviously, coming up here very shortly in September. Talk a little bit about, obviously, you're hanging with us for an evening, and then, of course, you're going to stick around on Saturday for an all-day workshop, which I am just jacked to be a part of. I'm going to soak it in like a sponge, bro, and I'm ready to hear you kind of share your knowledge with us. But talk a little bit about what people can come to expect with coming to see you. What's the date again for the meeting?
So our meeting is September 17th, Tuesday night,
right.
Third Tuesday every month, and then the 21st is our Saturday workshop.
Right. So talk to that, Tom, of what can people expect with you coming to Appleton?
Gotcha. Well, first and foremost, on Tuesday, I'm going to talk about wholesaling, 60 days to done. How can you get a deal done in 60 days? And we're going to have a lot of fun with that. I know it sounds odd, but I mean, think about it. You're giving up an evening. You don't want to be bored to death.
Right.
I've got a little bit of a zany personality, a little bit of a zany approach.
Yeah.
So, just a little.
Yeah, we're going to have fun.
It probably shows a little bit.
Oh, Tom, I forgot to tell you there's a bar in our room. So,
better still.
We have fun at every meeting.
This is Wisconsin, so that's pretty much standard. Yes.
I've come to the right place. Perfect.
Absolutely.
Oh, boy.
Well, I know Tom's somewhat familiar with Wisconsin as well. He's got some friends and family up in this area, so he's not completely new to Wisconsin. But obviously, you're going to share that on the Tuesday night, and then on the full 8-hour Saturday on the 21st.
What do we walk away with?
Yeah. What are the things that you expect? What's your goal at the end of that day?
My goal at the end of that day is that you have a good beginning of an in-depth knowledge on marketing, negotiating, and legal contracts and controlling a deal through. So you'll know the overall process. You're going to know those 3 specific things that make deals work, and that look. I'm going to bring everyone a gift. I've got a 41-page workbook that I'm literally going to put a ton in a giant suitcase, drag them up with me, and everyone's going to get one. I put these things together to help everyone understand. So we're going to build this workbook. It's not just here's a book. It's a workbook. We're going to use it throughout the event and build it throughout the day so that you understand it. I mean, let me just pick out one thing we're going to go over. It's the negotiating. That is my favorite part of the business.
Right.
The Saturday alone, and look, I know it's easy for me to say, hey, I consider the Saturday mandatory and everyone should be there. Well, obviously, but I actually mean that with all sincerity.
Yeah.
Scrub your calendar free and be there. The negotiation piece alone is worth it. What that will do to your business, your life, any business that you're in, to be honest. I mean, negotiating is a universal skill, and yet it's not taught anywhere. They don't teach it in school. Nobody knows it. No one's out there teaching it. You don't usually show up at any sort of event and learn negotiating. And I want to teach you 6 specific negotiation techniques. They sound really strange when you first hear them, and people go, what? But afterwards you realize, well, that was easy. I know all this now, and I can use it. It's just... It demystifies the whole process of it. I mean, that alone on the Saturday is worth it. But we're going to dig deep in the marketing. We're going to dig deep into legal contracts. So the entire day, if you are a newbie, you're going to understand the business. And it's not just wholesaling, because if you're going to do anything else, you need to market for deals, negotiate deals, and put them in a contract. So it's across the board. If you're an intermediate or advanced investor, I want to take wherever you are on the ladder and move you up a couple rungs.
That's awesome. So like Tom said, clear off the calendar. September 21st is the Saturday all-day event. Otherwise, typically the 3rd Tuesday of the month, the 17th of September. You can pre-register for both. Go online to appletonrea.com. If you haven't already gauged from the conversation we're having with Tom here, he's a great guy, super entertaining. He's going to share so much information packed in the time on Tuesday and also on Saturday. Be ready. So just get yourself mentally ready. Maybe not spend too much out the night before on Friday. Come alert on Monday on Saturday, I should say, because Tom's going to drop some knowledge bombs from out of the gate. And Tom is awesome in bringing that information. So if you're ready to learn and like Tom said, just absorb and grow your personal business, whether you're on day 1 or year 10, Tom's going to be able to help you guys with your business to expand and grow. 60 days to done is what he's going to be teaching us. So.
You guys, there's a really good hidden lesson in that, and I know a lot of people. We got a couple weeks to go. A lot of people wait. They wait till the very last minute or after the last minute, or they make a game day decision. That's not the way successful people operate. Successful people make a decision quickly and plan ahead, and don't just leave it to chance. And so,
we have early bird pricing
you can take
too.
my word for it. You got an early bird discount. How about I sweeten that pot a little bit more?
I like
if you sign up in advance, and I would say if you sign up for the Saturday, by the end of the Tuesday meeting, I've got an extra audio bonus that I'll add in.
Ooh.
Nice.
Like it. More
That's kind
education.
of stuff you can listen to over and over and just pound into your brain. That has done a lot for my business.
For sure. I mean, you think about this. I mean, I go to these events and I love them, but you walk away and you can only absorb so much information, right? It's limited. But having something that's recorded that you can go back to, put in your car, and repeat. Oh my word, you're just going to become more proficient in those skills. So Tom, that's a huge bonus. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, cool. Just as look, that's an obvious shameless bribe.
But here's the thing: sometimes we have to bribe people to do things good for them.
Make a decision early.
Yeah, agreed.
Yep.
So go to AppletonREIA.com. You can pre-register right now. It's on the website. Tom Zeeb. It's going to be here in September the 17th for the Tuesday night, and then of course the all-day Saturday on the 21st. Tom, thank you so much, man. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you both nights and just have a good time and give you a nice Appleton warm welcome. We'll be here bringing our hospitality, our Wisconsin hospitality to you.
And hopefully not
Fantastic.
snow.
I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Tom Zeeb will be joining us as the Appleton REIA for September. Sign up now, AppletonREIA.com. That does it for this edition of the Appleton REIA podcast. Jacci, thank you so much. Tom as well. Thank you.
Dan.
And we will see you guys on the 17th and, of course, on the 21st. Register today, AppletonREIA.com. Have yourself a great day. See ya.
Bye.